we're going to talk about this crazy Minneapolis story. I don't understand the story. Just they're ruining this city. For what reason? It's just insanity. We'll run some tape and some pictures of it as we go along. We welcome back Caroline Downey, National Review columnist, and my great pal Mark Simone, Hall of Fame WOR radio host. Caroline, I don't understand any of this stuff. Going after look, they're trying to put away illegals who are criminals, bad criminals, and you got all these people who want to stop them, so they've tied up Minneapolis. There's violence. It's probably going to get worse. But can you just explain this to me in some short form? Because I don't understand. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
It's not a typical riot, what we're seeing in Minneapolis. It is highly organized, very well funded. Even Renee Good, the woman who was in the news lately, she was going through training with Ice Watch, which is very much instructing kind of impressionable people. Some of these are young moms. They've been deluded into this toxic empathy message where every single issue that is defending some marginalized group is existential. So Renee Good got training from Ice Watch, and they're telling these people to obstruct ICE. And they're not telling them, very important disclaimer, which is, by the way, this could get ugly. And if it goes too far, you could be on the receiving end of lethal force, because ICE officers—
She had 3 kids.
Yeah.
She had 3 kids. Now the kids have no mom.
Right. And that's the thing.
And this is worth it?
They're putting every social progressive cause first instead of the only one that actually matters, which is your family. And they're doing it repeatedly. It's not just with ICE. It's with BLM in the 2020 Summer of Love. It was these same exact things.
Is this
climate change?
Is this like, yeah, I mean, it is like climate change was an existential risk. No, it wasn't. It was not. Do you understand this? I mean, can you explain it either?
Yeah, Democrats, that used to be a political party. Now it's a mental health crisis.
Yes, right.
And they keep saying, oh, she's a mother of 3. That doesn't, it's not relevant. You know, the Gilgo Beach murderer who killed multiple women, he was a father of 3. That you leave that out of the headline. I don't know anybody would have the nerve. If the cop pulled me over, I wouldn't even argue with him, let alone drive my car into him or pull it up ahead and turn.
Who does these things?
Well,
who does? And by the way, don't they work? They're just out on the streets all day long.
Yeah,
what do they have? What do they do for a living?
That's the other thing. Democrats used to be the working man, you know, the working class.
Yeah.
Their symbols were a lunch bucket, a hard hat. Now the symbols are a nose ring, pink hair. These are spoiled brat liberal elite kids.
Who's financing this? Who's financing this?
I have a theory.
Is this a George Soros-related financing operation? I always go to that. Maybe I'm wrong, but who's financing
No, you're not wrong, Larry. The Open Society Foundation and all of the other organizations have their tentacles in every single progressive cause under the sun, including resisting immigration enforcement. These are people who do not believe ICE should exist. So you're seeing a lot of leftist arguments about, oh, the training and the tactics, and maybe they shouldn't have gone that far. It's not about that. They don't believe any deportations are legitimate. They do not believe we should have sovereignty. They do not believe that any illegal alien has no right to be here. They think they do. They are, time and time again, going to put those people above the interests of Americans.
Can I just switch this up? This is just such a sad tale. Look at these pictures. CNN, our friends at CNN, there's a great routine here. Back in March of 2023, the inflation rate under Joe Biden was 6%, but they said, well, it's falling. Last month's consumer price index measured 6%, down from 6.4 in January. How wonderful. And then on January 13th, 2026, U.S. inflation at 2.7 in December, underscoring the persistent cost of living challenges. Why can't CNN get something right?
Well, it's right for them.
What is wrong with them?
Their job at CNN is to convince everybody that the 10% that are on their side, that everybody agrees with this. Nobody does. They're Jekyll and Hyde. You know,
the best guy is that guy, Scott Jennings. I had him on the radio show. He's got a book out. I mean, he's a hero, conservative spokesman. They all have a gang up on him. I think his name is Scott Jennings.
Yeah,
right?
But he's the exception that proves the rule. But, you know, even when you watch a host.
6% was great under Biden, But 2.5% is bad under Trump? Really? Explain.
That's CNN. Watch when they interview a guest. If it's a Republican, they're yelling and screaming and follow-up questions. Then when they come back from the commercial with a Democrat, the same host is a gentle little lamb asking sweet questions.
This is why they call it the propaganda press, Larry. Inflation was transitory, and it was a temporary phenomenon under Biden at 6%. And people were like, what do you mean? Cereal is $8. We are shocked by what we're seeing at the grocery store. Now, Trump is not that far away from the Federal Reserve's target rate, and they're calling it cost of living crisis?
He hit 1.6% in the fourth quarter. 1.6%. Do we have the tape on the difference between men and women? Can we play that tape? All right, hang on one second. Democrats are still very confused about sexual ambiguity. Hold on, here it comes. Watch this.
Can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. Can men get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was.
Can men get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool.
For the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men.
Caroline, help me out on this.
What this exchange shows, Larry,
This
is that...
This is not my breadbasket.
No, but it's mine, unfortunately. We may have political victories right now with the Supreme Court potentially going to block men and women's sports. Trump won partially because most of the country rejected trans insanity, 80-20 issue. But we still have a lot of work to be done in the cultural sector and the medical industry. All of these institutions are still captured by wokeness. Most medical school training still subscribes to gender ideology. They still use phrases like chest feeding. That's going to be harder to change.
Mark, I'm in the wrong era.
Yeah, a man will get pregnant before she ever answers that question.
Who is that woman?
She's a doctor, I think.
She's a doctor.
She's a
She
doctor.
went to medical school.
That's what I'm saying.
So she knows biology.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
She's a doctor. I wouldn't go to her for a hangnail.
I got to get out of here. Caroline Downey, fabulous. Mark Simone, fabulous. Democrats, man, you need an overhaul. All right.